Hi, boys and girls. Thank you for joining me for reading again today. And this week we've been reading our Tigers nonfiction book and learning and answering questions, drawing diagrams, writing things that we've learned about tigers. And today I told you we were going to read about tiger cubs or babies. I'm so excited to read that part of our story because I love those little baby animals. They're so cute. So on my chart, I have our diagram of a tiger that we drew together. And then on my next page, I have what we did yesterday. We learned about where tigers live. And I learned something new, that tigers can live in hot places where there's a nice forest, or other types of tigers can live in cold places like Russia, where it is very chilly and cold. Okay, so I'm going to flip forward because today we're going to do a little drawing and writing about our baby tiger cubs. Now, this is a nonfiction book and it has a table of contents in it. And when I look at that, remember, I can see all the different things that I can read about in this story. I don't have to start at the beginning and read all the way to the end. I can skip around and read whatever parts are interesting to me or whatever parts I want to learn about. So when I'm looking down my list, I see that cubs is right here. When I slide my finger across, I see it's on page number 14. So that's where I want to skip to. So I'm going to skip forward to page number 14 so that I can read about those adorable baby cubs. Okay? All right. So let's read and see what we can learn about cubs. And then we're going to draw a picture and do a sentence or two today about something we learned about baby cubs. Cubs. A female tiger, that means a girl tiger, the mom. A female tiger usually has 2 or 3 cubs at one time. So when they have a baby, they don't just have one baby usually. They have either 2 babies or 3 babies at the same time. So they have 2 or 3 cubs at one time. The cubs weigh about 4 pounds at birth. That is not very much. They're very light. A mother raises the cubs by herself. Male, that's the boy, the dad, and female, which is the girl, tigers come together only to have cubs. Otherwise, adult tigers live alone. So they don't live together as a family when they're adults. They live by themselves. That's something new that I did not know. And this tiger that we see is a Bengal tiger, the same one that we saw on the front cover of the book. And see how that mother tiger is taking care of her baby cubs in the picture? The cubs drink their mother's milk. Oh, they're mammals. They drink their mother's milk, just like babies drink milk, baby humans. The cubs drink their mother's milk. After 3 or 4 months, they start to eat meat. So 3 or 4 months means 3 or 4 whole calendars. And then they start to eat meat. So they first have milk. Then when they get bigger, they start eating meat. And do you remember, where would they get that meat from? Remember, they're predators. That means that they eat other animals or their prey. So they're getting meat from other animals. Ooh, and I see these tiger cubs. Look what they're doing. They look like they're wrestling. Let's see what it tells us. Tiger cubs play games. They chase, leap, and pounce. Ooh, they use those vivid verbs we've been working on this week. Leap and pounce. They are learning how to be good hunters. When they are 2 years old, young tigers leave their family to find their own territory. Territory is their own place to live or their own land. So they don't stay with their moms and dads. just like we do. When they're 2 years old, they go off and they find their own place to live. Can you imagine going off to live on your own when you're only 2 years old? We grow and change very differently than tigers do. Okay, so, and up at the top, there's a little question and answer. It says, what does a tiger say when it meets other animals? And the answer is, pleased to eat you. So instead of pleased to meet you, pleased to eat you, because they eat other animals. That was a silly one. Okay, so we read a little bit about our tiger cubs. Then it goes into something else on the next page. So we're going to stop there and we're going to get a chance to do a little writing about tiger cubs. And I want you to think about, what did you learn about tiger cubs? Something new that you learned. And I'm going to write about something that I learned about tiger cubs. Okay, and I learned that tiger cubs play games. I didn't know that they played games. Now, I don't think that they mean like they played Monopoly or they play Parcheesi or chess or checkers. They play games like we might play on a playground, like wrestling or fooling around playing. Okay, so I'm going to draw those tiger cubs playing like I see them playing in here, and I'm going to do my very best. Okay, so I'm going to draw one tiger cub. My tiger cubs, and I might use that word in my writing, so maybe I'm going to write that word up here as a label. Cubs. Ooh, that sounds like a Z, but it's an S. Means more than one. There's my cubs, and what they're doing, the action or the verb is playing. Ooh, we know how to spell that word, we've worked on that one. Play. Okay, and I might write playing. I'm going to add that I-N-G. Okay, because that's what they're doing. And that's what I wanted to write about today. So I might write a sentence at the bottom, and if you're still sketching, that's okay. You can always pause it. Okay, and you do not have to draw cubs playing. You might write about whatever it is that you want to write about, okay, that you learned about tiger cubs. I'm going to write tiger cubs play games. So 4 words. Start with my capital T, I, G, and if I'm not sure how to spell it, it's right on the front of my book, T-I-G-E-R-S. Okay, tiger, and then cubs. I already worked out that word up there, so I can look up there if I need to. Tiger, cubs, play. I already wrote that one up there too. Play. Do I want to say tiger cubs playing games? No, I wanted to write tiger cubs play games, so I'm going to leave that ing off of there and just write the word play. And then games, I'm going to have to stretch out A. Now, I'm looking at that, and that would be a short A sound if I left it just like that. But we've been working on that bossy E that's at the end that tells the A, say your name. So I'm going to add that E so that it turns from am to aim. Okay? Tiger cubs play game. Oh, I forgot my S. Games. That's why we always reread what we write. Okay? So I wrote my sentence, tiger cubs play games. And I'm trying to think, what else do I want to write? they told us in our story today that tiger cubs play games. They leap, chase, and pounce. So I might use one of those words in my next sentence because they look like they're pouncing on one another. That means to jump really fast. So I might write a second sentence saying, tiger cubs pounce. So 3 words. I don't have room up there, so I'm going to come back down here with a capital T. Tiger cubs, ow. Ooh, that O pinches the U and says ow, just like in the word out. Ounce. Sounds like an S, but I know in my brain it's a C and an E at the end. That's a tricky word. Tiger cubs pounce. Ooh, I might make it a little bit more detailed and say tiger cubs pounce on each other. On, and I know each other is a big word, so I'm not going to have room for it down there. So I'm going to write it on the next line. On each, like cheese from our blends chart. Tiger cubs pounce on each other. And I might put an exclamation mark because I want to read that excited. So now that I'm done writing, I always want to go back and read it just one more time to make sure that it makes sense and I have everything I need in those sentences. So here we go. I see my cubs. They're playing. And it says, tiger cubs play games. Tiger cubs pounce on each other. Okay, so my sentences made sense. I think I have everything I need. My spaces in between, we could read it. I've got my punctuation at the end of both of my sentences. So I am all set. Awesome job, boys and girls. If you did your writing with me, then you are all set. If you still have to do your writing because you haven't started yet, go ahead and make sure that you do your sentences telling what you learned about tiger cubs. And I hope you enjoyed learning about tigers. I thought it was really fun. I learned some new things that I didn't know about tigers. And if you want to send me a picture of your writing or you reading your writing, I would be so happy to see it. All right, have a great day. Bye-bye.